Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.
G'day, I'm Fletch and welcome to the show. Today it's about some mighty EH Holdens, but not just any EH Holdens. You're about to see an extraordinary matching set of EH Holdens in this week's Classic Restos on the road. When I found these EH Holdens, my priority was to track this bloke down and feature them on an episode of Classic Restos. And I did well, because I found him.
This is Jason West, the owner of 4 EH Holdens, but not just 4 EH Holdens. How about a matching set of 4 EH Holdens? You may have seen them plastered all over social media pages. Jason and his wife Heather own their family business, J&H Quality Kitchens, and have done so far for about 25 years. Their children, Natalie, Joshua, Samantha and Christopher, also make up the family circle, with one of the kids married around this EH set, which makes them even more special to the family. Jason started his journey around EH Holdens as a kid, holding many childhood memories. This also encompassed the time and respect that Jason had for his father after his efforts of creating a family lifestyle back then around his EH, which then was a Kalgoorlie Gold EH Sedan, brand new in 1963, and it was Jason's family car for 27 years. Jason's dad sold it in 1990 at the Flemington car markets. The car was bought by a young man at the time, an apprentice landscaper, and it broke Jason's mum's heart seeing the car drive away. Consequently, Jason is still searching for his father's car since he passed away in 2004, but with no luck as yet. This is just some of the story of Jason West and his family's incredibly rare matching set of EH Holdens.
Listen up, dealers. Get your box brownie out. Here is the new EH Holden for 1963, with major improvements over the last EJ model. EH lends itself to the first of the powerful Holden red engines in either 149 and 179 cubic inch displacements, with an all-new power swept style, thanks to 900 designers, engineers, draftsmen, model and technicians at Fisherman's Bend. A new look roofline and visibility has never been better. In fact, now even the wife looks good. And I can say that because political correctness has not been invented yet. Take your prospect out in the demonstrator, show them the power, style and sophistication of the new General Motors EH Holden. Tell them to leave the wife behind. It's his purchase, not hers. She can take the car shopping later. The new EH Holden. It's mighty, it's new, it's for you. For your nearest Holden dealer, dial 7.
Well, here we are, and this episode is pretty special. No pun intended. Welcome to today's show, Jason.
Thanks, Fletch.
4 EH Holdens.
Yes.
One of the mightiest shapes ever made in the 60s by GMH. Almost 250,000 of these EHs were made, only to be knocked off by the HQ because it ran longer in its series.
It did.
As I alluded to earlier in today's show, not only do you just have, well, you just don't have one EH, you don't have 2 or 3, but the matching set.
Yep.
So it's the first time I think I've ever seen 4 EHs like this together in one place. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm very privileged to have the cars. I mean, the matching set, it is only the only matching set in Australia that I know of. But they're very special to me, and yeah, very privileged to have the cars.
So what was the feeling like when you got your first EH, and what inspired you then to get the second?
The first EH, it was more for the memory of my father. We had EH as a family car. That was what we grew up with. The second car was for my son mostly, to be able to extend the knowledge of the EHs and the passion of the EHs with him. But yeah, that's what led on to the second car.
And you're saying off air, your dad used to take 4 days to polish his car.
Absolutely, 4 days religiously. Every Easter weekend, it was the whole 4 days. They hand polished that car inside and out. Everything inside the boot, outside the boot, under the bonnet. The whole car was done.
He would have gone through more litres of polish than petrol.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not too far off, definitely.
That's amazing. I think it's wonderful that you've certainly kept this dream alive. And each car, from what I can see at this point, they've all got their own little bit of personalised input by yourself.
Yes,
they're not all exactly the same. Some have got 5-speed transmissions.
Yep, correct.
Engine-wise. So, well, first things first. We've got our EH here behind us.
Yes.
So, the story on this. What have you done here?
Well, the story in this car I bought locally up at Silverdale off a family from there. This car's actually had not much done to this car, a little bit of tidy up. It's an original Winton red with a white roof. The interior is completely original. All the interior paintwork under the bonnet's completely original.
So was the white roof original?
Yeah, white roof's original.
Oh, okay.
Ivory white roof's original.
Wow. Yeah.
And this was the first car and the inspiration for the other 3 to follow.
When you got the car, how was the condition when you got it?
This was pretty good actually. This car was probably 80% good to my standards.
Yeah, it always helps.
We know the history to the car. We know the car was bought at Sutherland Way down Cronulla Way, and then it was sold to a gentleman, and it lived its life out at Dubbo. So it was a country car. So we knew the car would be pretty clean and dry. Rust free, was fairly rust free. A couple little specks here and there, but overall the car was a very clean car. So driving this car and how I feel driving it, it's peaceful. The car's peaceful. There's no radio, there's no interference with the car, no air conditioning, no power steering, but it is just so lovely to drive, you know. 50, 55 mile an hour and she'll cruise all day, every day. You don't have to steer it or anything. And it's an absolute pleasure to drive, and it gives you time to stop and think about what's going on in the world and around your life and with family and kids. What I love about the EHs, I just think the style of them, and you can't get this style of car in today's manufactured cars. They've got class, they've got style, and they're a head turner. People see the cars and they stop, they talk to you. You know, I've had people pull me up just simply to talk about the cars, and that's what it is about them.
Amazing stuff, Jason. Okay, stick around because after the break we'll be back here at Jason's place with his EH Ute.
I've been a motoring enthusiast all my life. My Coupe 4 is rare and very special. A real performance car with all-wheel drive grip. I'm not a car club bloke and I don't work on it myself, but I do have a great mechanic. One day, I might even get that HQ. When it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannons.
Shannons shares your passion. Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
When it comes to cars, there are some brands that will remain with us forever, no matter what. The Holden was always Australia's own car, held high in the hearts of many. Those lines, that chrome, the stories around them, and the people that owned them. From the classic through to the final, you can still trust in genuine Holden and AC Delco parts, available through the Holden Certified Service Network. Welcome back. Every episode of Classic Restos has 3 sections. Today, we have 4 cars, so good luck editing that, Danny. How you feeling, mate?
Yeah, well, good. Well, thanks, folks. Thanks for coming.
This is extraordinary. What a day, what an episode. 4, a matching set of EHs. Interesting times back in the early 60s as well. At Fisherman's Bend, 900 staff were introduced, comprising designers, modelers, draftsmen. It was a high-tech facility in the time of the EH Holden, and I think that certainly reflects the success of the shape. Speaking of shape, when I stand down the side profile, or have a look at the side profile of this EH Ute, just to me personally, would have to go down as one of the nicest shapes in a commercial vehicle in a Ute. To me, I think it's sensational.
Yeah, it is. They're a really nice shaped vehicle. They were really meant for a work utility when they were first done, but no, it's they do have a nice shape, and the way that they still incorporated the EJ section into it as well on the tail lights. It's a nice combination.
This is the type of vehicle that I've said many times before on the show, probably the hardest thing to get hold of. These were the vehicles that were trashed, bashed, abused, traded in, tradesmen's vehicles, commercial vehicles. To see one like this all these decades later, what's the story on it?
The car was pretty rough when I first got it. It was sort of fair to poor condition, and it really had a whole ground up restoration done to it. It was complete strip down and redo, but it was not rusted, which was good. There was no real rust in the under tray of the ute, but it was just in a bit of poor condition. Needed some love and care.
Now, Jason, I know there's something bugging you at the moment behind us because the tarp is up over the roof, and Jason didn't want the car filmed like this, but there's a reason for it. Yep. There's a lot of showcasing here. Now, because you're a kitchen guy, you obviously build a beautiful kitchen. Well, your craft can be seen in the back of this tray. Now, tell us what you've done there and tell us about the lion.
Yeah, so the back of the tray's got a timber floor in the back of it. I've made that from a New Guinea rosewood solid timber, and in that it's got a routed design of the Holden line that's correct to the era for the car, and that line then represents across from the timber floor in the ute, the polished timber, to the tarp, and also then the centre caps for the wheels.
Did you give yourself an invoice for that job?
No, we was a bit of a cashy on the side on that one.
You weren't game enough, were you?
No, definitely not.
I think it's lovely too how what you've done on the tarp, it tells the story. Tray, tarp, wheel centres.
Yeah, and that was the idea, trying to keep the old and the new.
Yeah.
The car is an old car, yes, but it's a new car. It's been given a new lease of life.
Now, we mentioned earlier in the episode about the cars having their own personas and individuality. Now, this particular one here, we're talking a blue engine 202.
Correct.
And and this is the car with the Celica 5-speed, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, all right. So give us a rundown there on the driveline, what you've done to the blue engine.
The blue engine had a full pull-down rebuild. It still got the original heads and everything on it, didn't need anything of that replaced. But the guys behind me in the team, they were able to just rebuild and new seals, new head gaskets, and then basically put it back in the car and turn curve.
The driveline, the Celica 5-speed, we all know how good those boxes are. Boy, I wouldn't mind $100 for every time a Celica 5-speed has slipped in behind a Holden 6. They've been quite a universal gearbox. Obviously, being Japanese too, a beautiful gearbox to use, pretty strong. What a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice change in the gears. Simple. In the 5-speed, you just get that top end and you've got that fifth gear to cruise, and it's a lovely drive. The inspiration behind the timber work was trying to show off what I can do in my craft as well. I'm a cabinet maker by trade, and trying to keep that Holden theme and the symbols correct to the period of time, and also notifying the change of colour as well. We started from the original black line to the red line, and the cars being a new car now, they're basically being given a rebirth. So then therefore I've brought the new line into it as well. Loving it on the EH Ute. I do like the style of the cars, and then that one piece down the whole body is a nice look to the vehicles. But I like how they also kept the EJ section of the car, kept that in the vehicle, so that part sort of joined in. But they're just a really nice looking for a single person to drive, or just single and passenger. They're a nice looking car to drive.
The car behind us, yes, the nightmare of the fathers back in the day that had daughters to see one of these pull up in the driveway. The commercial vehicle might have been a guy that was a local plumber or a builder, somebody that had a local paper run. They were such a multi-purpose vehicle. And when you look at the early 1960s, Jason, it was still early days for the panel van in Australia, wasn't it?
Oh, it definitely was, very much so. It was probably one of the first of the panel van series.
When we look at these cars and we see how plain they were, because they weren't ever meant to be fancy. They were built for one reason, like the Ute, and that was for work.
Definitely.
And of course, the early 60s, way before the big three capitalised on making these a fun vehicle. We're giving them coloured decals and giving them names, such as Sandman for the Holden, Drifter for the Chrysler, for the Ute and van, and of course, Sundowner for Ford. So They came a long way, didn't they?
They did, definitely a long way.
But they were never meant to be pretty or fancy, they were designed for work. So what's the story here with this one?
Yeah, this one is a bit of a pretty wagon, or panel van. It's, the car came to me, I bought the car out of Perth, and then we dressed it to match the Ute and Sedan, finished it right off. It was a ground up rebuild. This went right back to a sandblast sort of start, and then every nut and bolt from there up.
Was it exciting for you while you were waiting for it to come over from Perth?
It was pretty quick from Perth. I was in no rush to get the vehicle, but I flew to Perth to go and see the vehicle before I bought the vehicle, and it was a little bit anxious wait, but not too bad. It was all right.
I see we talk of engine and driveline in this car, Jason. You've gone the 5-speed gearbox once again with this car.
Yep, yeah, I went the same driveline as the Ute,
Yeah.
the 202 with the 5-speed Celica,
Yeah.
because the Ute drives so well,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to duplicate that again and keep both the commercial vehicles, being the Ute and the panel van, the same.
I'll be honest with you, at time of filming with the Ute, I hadn't noticed when I had the interview prior with Jason, when he said a blue 202, I don't know, I was expecting to see a blue 202. I love how you've painted it the old original Holden red motor colours and put the 179 on top of the rocker cover.
Yeah, the plan to that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the plan to that was when the cars are all sitting together, they all look this matching set, and even right down to the decals on the engine.
Now the detail you've done in the back of the van, Jason, that's nicely done as well.
Thank you.
A little bit creative there.
Yeah, a little bit more creative, and trying to keep the theme of the matching set going together. Back with the timber floor again, but there's extra detail in the back of this one.
It's your attention to detail. Everywhere you look on these cars, they're concourse. They are absolutely immaculate, and I love the two-tone, how you've kept that through the matching set as well.
Yeah, well, it's just the detail to it. We have, like the detail I wanted to keep with the cars is trying to keep everything as possible, as close as possible, without being totally overboard. But it's still, as close as possible to do.
And the matching set, all same wheels as well.
Same wheels, same rubber, same centre caps.
The guy down at the tyre place, the wheel place, he would have loved you.
He was shocked. I walked in and ordered 16 wheels. And he
probably thought, what truck are you putting these on?
He fell over backwards. And I even asked him when they put them on the rims to make sure that they're actually all facing the same way on the rims. So
that's nice.
The markings line up. If Dad was here with me today, he'd be all right with it, but I'd probably get a bit of a swift kick in the bum, to be honest. He'd think I'd spent too much money on the cars, sort of thing. But Dad was being a Holden man all his life, and I think he'd love them. Just love and enjoy it. And Mum's the same. She's seen the cars here just before the daughter's wedding a couple of weeks ago, and it brought tears to her and tears to the family to think that I've been able to continue that long in Dad's name as well. Yeah, I've been looking for Dad's car for quite a while. Dad's car was sold around about 97. I was only 16 at the time, and couldn't talk Mum into getting Dad to keep it for me. But the car was sold, and I've been able to track the owner who bought the car off Dad. I spoke to him a couple of times, but unfortunately we sort of lose track of where the car went, but definitely still looking for it. So if anyone out there knows of it or has an EH sitting in the shed, they're not sure what the background is, I'd be interested to talk to them. Taking the cars out and getting them out to show, we've done a couple of shows. I've got my good mate Peter who's here with us today. He likes getting out and driving the cars with me and helps out. Likes to chamois the cars down and take care of them with me, sort of thing. And he's a bit of he's a good mate of a long, long time. We went to school together. He can eat me out of house and home occasionally, but Pete, I couldn't do it without him, sort of thing. So he's always welcome to turn the key and come for a cruise with me anytime.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Does your current insurer understand your passion? At Shannons, we're motoring enthusiasts, just like you. We understand the passion you have for your special car or bike. But did you know that Shannons will also insure your daily drive, the car you drive every day? So if you're a motoring enthusiast, you've got to be with Shannons. So call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
They may not be making the classic Holden anymore, but the legacy lives on. You can still have a Holden certified service using genuine Holden and AC Delco quality parts at over 180 centres across Australia. Go to holden.com.au to find your nearest centre. Book your Holden in, maintain the pride. And if you own a classics, make sure they're insured with Shannons. Pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat on 134646. And when you get a moment, head to the Shannons Club. They've got some wonderful in-house productions, such as Shannons Club TV, Legends of Motorsport, Driven, End of an Era. You can catch episodes of Classic Restos there as well, along with a host of other really cool stuff as Australia's largest automotive online hub. For more information, visit shannons.com.au. Welcome back. And just at a time when you might be wondering as to what colour the next car is going to be on today's show, well, it's red. Another one as we work down the list, Jason.
It is.
The Wagon.
Yep.
How cool were these? These were the vehicles found by the beach, surfboards on top.
Definitely.
The family truckster, the plywood caravan behind, or a small boat. You know, before SUVs.
Definitely.
And these things were on the highways and the byways, side streets in droves, weren't they?
Absolutely. And they're still out and around if you're looking, but the theme, what you're saying, the surfboards, it was very classic of it.
They were just such a cool car. And even now, today, a really nice looking Wagon, even around the back of the tailgate. I've always been taken by the exposed hinges down the bottom there. I think there's, you know, obviously they serve a purpose, but they also look cool in 2022 when we see that.
Yeah, just something different.
Oh, also too, of course, the 179, the beginning of the red engines for the Holdens in Australia, and that pattern of engine lasting so long, right through into, well, the black engine, 3.3, the 202 and the VK. So talk about a platform for tooling that remained for so long.
So long, definitely.
We're on the subject of engines. What have you done here to the Wagon?
So on the Wagon is just a standard HP 179 again. An old through on the tree, the old crush box in it.
Yeah.
It is
nice
really,
gearbox to use.
Yeah, not too bad. It's
Yeah.
just making sure you got to pull up, dead stop before you can get into first gear.
Yep.
But other than that, it's a lovely drive.
The story of this car.
Yep.
What was she like when you got it?
Yep.
Where did you find it?
Yep. Well, the story of this car came from a family up in Penrith Way. A gentleman was actually part the way through of restoring it. And I happened to go there one afternoon for business, and actually do a quote for his kitchen. And we ended up making a deal to be able to sort of do the car and finish off to a point that they were happy with, and that I was happy with as a roller sort of thing. And then from there we picked it up and finished it off.
Well, to go there to do a kitchen quote, you would have had to have had a cabinet meeting.
A little bit of cabinet meeting, yeah.
Because everything hinges on that, right?
Yeah. It can.
Yeah. This interior, talk about a step back in time. You've left it pretty well stock, how it looked back in the day.
Yes.
Again, all this awesomeness now in such a stylish vehicle that is so old that looks so good in 2022. Now, you've got the matching set as we know it here today.
Yep.
If you could get anything else, what would it be? Because if I can just jump the queue here just for a sec, anyone that's got anything to do with EHs knows Harvey Miles down around the Canberra area. He's a great guy. He's a soul of the earth guy. He'll do anything to help anyone with their EH. And he had a 3-door delivery van, right?
Delivery van, yeah.
Okay, because I did have that on Classic Restos quite a while back.
Right.
So, like I said, jumping the queue, I know that's one that you'd like to get.
Yeah, the 3-door delivery van would be one, and an ambulance would be the other.
Ambulance?
Try and complete the setup, but they're few and far between and hard to find, but it would definitely complete the factory set as I know.
Yeah.
Oh, the Wagon means to me is a lot. You know, it was completing the set, having that identical matching set, and then also having the cars ready for my eldest daughter's wedding, and that's where the first photos of the cars went out, and it just has a lot to me just to have that privilege of taking my daughter to her wedding in a EH Holden.
Jason, with all that you've done, your commitment to the EH fraternity, and I know that there's a lot of admirers out there, and I know from this episode you're going to have a few more.
Yep.
Everything that you've done to Heather, your wife, and your great mate Pete, everyone that's involved to maintain these cars and keep this EH dream alive, I'd like you to accept a Holden Legends cap
thank you.
from General Motors Australia.
Yep, much
and also,
appreciated.
you are now obviously a Holden legend. I'd like you to accept this Holden Legends pack, again, thanks to General Motors Australia.
Thank you, Fletch. Much appreciated, and thank you to General Motors of Australia as well.
Good on you. Well done.
Appreciate it.
That's
Thank you.
That's a brilliant effort, Jason.
Yep, great. Thanks for coming along.
Cheers, mate.
Appreciate it.
Well, I hope you've really enjoyed this week's episode of Classic Restos, featuring the magnificent matching set of EH Holdens, the collection belonging to Jason and Heather West. It's a testament to their attention to detail and preservation of these wonderful vehicles. I hope you've enjoyed it. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching.
You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.